Hi, everyone. We're here with Jessica Bellai, and she is a Nevada realtor and property manager,
Yes.
and she's going to talk to us today about real estate investing.
How did you get started in real estate investment?
So I started at a young age. My parents came to Canada from Europe, and my dad bought his first property and cheap, fixed it up, and we moved on to the next. So we lived in the same town my whole life, and we just kept moving. He would buy a cheap house, we'd fix it up, and then we'd move on to the next. And then finally, once I graduated, that's when they stopped because they were ready to retire and buy a family business. So it's always been in my family. And then when I moved to the States and the market crashed, well, first, let me go back. When I moved to college, I bought a condo and then, or a townhome. And then I lived in that, and the townhome beside me became available for sale. So I purchased that and rented that out. And then when I moved to the States, and the market crashed, my husband and I started flipping at the courthouse. So I didn't have my license at that time, but we were flipping. So we were buying, distressed properties and flipping those for investments. And then towards the end of it, as it came to a downturn and there were only a certain amount of investors left, we held on to properties. So I think it's an absolute amazing way to make money. You have a constant income, but with that also comes, you have renters. So if you have a clear understanding with the people that you have moving in, of what their expectations are and what your expectations are, most of the time you won't have issues. I've been lucky that I've only had a few, but I think that investing in real estate, as the market goes up and down right now, that the market is not the greatest, but people are still paying rent. And it's like the game of Monopoly. I think, the more properties you own, you can rent those out and hopefully one day pay off that mortgage and then just have that as an income.
Right. Okay. So, as people you said that when you went to college, you purchased a condo.
Yes.
So, for people that are in high school, late high school, about to go to college, or maybe even in college or just beyond college, what's your advice on how they can afford, or what's the steps to be able to purchase a condo or home?
The first thing that you want to do is, obviously, the first step is get pre-approved. Basically, it lets everyone know, or yourself know, your agent and yourself, how much you can afford. It'll break down the payment, the taxes, their HOA, if there is one. And it gives you it gives you a better understanding. So you're not just driving around wasting your time and the agent's time. You kind of know what you can afford. You'll know what the payment is, and you take it from there. So that would be the first step. And then, there are also lots of programs. Every lender is different, and every bank is different. But for first-time home buyers, as long as you're in the home for 3 to 5 years, depending on what program, they'll give you closing costs or they'll give you down payment assistance. But also, I'm not a lender, so reaching out to a lender they can give you, because their programs are constantly changing depending on the market and government guidelines, but that can absolutely, give you some more insight into what you can afford.
Okay. I don't know if this is up your realm or not, but does that have to deal with credit and establishing your credit?
Yes.
Do you have any tips on how young people can establish their credit? What can they do 15, 16 years old, 18, 19 years old to establish good credit so that they can qualify, to get a loan for a home or an apartment?
So the best thing to do is go to a bank. I'm assuming you would have to be at least 16. But like 16 to 18 is the ideal age of where you want to establish your own credit. If you can get on, if you have someone that you trust and that pays their bills, you can get on their credit card and, you kind of develop your own credit that way. You spend a little and pay it off. And then you also learn how to save money, spend money, how much things actually cost as a teenager, which I don't think, or I know that they don't teach in school. So,
Right.
it's always beneficial for that. Or you can go to a bank and I know that coming from Canada, I had no credit. So I went to like Bank of America and I was like, can I open a credit card? And they said, you have no credit. Give us $100 and you can have a credit card with a $500 balance. And I was like, okay. And that helped me establish my credit. So over the years, I've always kept that card, but that's how I established credit in my own name. So it'd be valuable to look into it. I think that the best way to do it is either, I don't know if they'll give you a credit card when you're 16 without, a co-signer. I'm pretty sure they won't, but if you can go in there with a co-signer, or if you have a job, some sort of, because they need something to guarantee them getting paid back.
Right.
Or if you can go on your parents' credit card.
Yeah, that's something that I think we looked into is, like, I know American Express, you
Yeah.
can add your kids after, I think it's 13, we found out. I'm not
Oh,
sure.
okay.
I don't know if it's for sure, but I believe.
So I added my son to my Capital One, and I added him when he was 16 because he needed something to get gas. And he did have his own bank account, which is also important once they're 16 or 14, I think, getting them their own bank account so they can, learn how to go to the bank and, go up to the teller and, do the things that they are doing independently with money.
Okay. And then as far as, so someone young can get a home, do you suggest, like we see online a lot of them renting out rooms to turn that liability into more of an asset?
So when you say rooms, like renting out the whole place or just renting out rooms?
Renting rooms. So what I've seen on other people is they say, if you get a house, if you have, let's say, a 3-bedroom house, you take one room and you can rent out the other two, and that way your home is generating income. Is that what you did, or are you just? It sounds like you were more of you're taking distressed properties and fixing them up and selling them.
Right. So when I was in college, I lived on my own. I already did the roommate thing and it did not work out. We
Right.
were both on the lease. She wasn't paying rent. We got evicted. Or no, we didn't get evicted. I paid for the rent until the lease was done. And then I moved out. I couldn't do that again because I was paying the rent. So when I purchased my townhome, I lived by myself. With flipping, I was just flipping and selling because I needed that cash, right? The cash flow. So it was just basically just money. I was just turning doors at that point. For renting rooms, that's all the new craze, apparently. Like everyone, like you buy a house and you think it's I can rent this room if every room has a bathroom, and then the person, just rents that room, and then the common areas are for everyone. So it's
Right.
kind of like dorm living.
Right.
Right. You obviously would make more money that way. But with that comes another rental and some, because everyone is on their own lease, it becomes tricky at that point. But I don't think it would be anything different than renting a property.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to be careful in the wording of your leases and everything that's stated in there.
Okay. So if someone wanted to get, you say you were a house flipper, right? Or you used to flip distressed properties, which is house flipping. Is that correct?
Say that again.
You took distressed properties and fixed them up and sold them. That's house flipping, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It doesn't even have to be distressed. Meaning, so distress means a lot of things. It went through foreclosure or short sale, or it was the people were going through all that, lost it, and they destroyed it. So all of them. We just didn't do short sale. We just did they were at the auction, and they needed a little bit of work. We didn't purchase the ones that needed a lot of work because we knew time wasn't on our side, so we wanted in and out. So whatever, the least amount of work, even if it was cheaper, it was fine.
So someone young that's looking to get into flipping homes, what what people do they need on their team? I mean, obviously they need a realtor to find it and sell it. I'm sure they probably would need a contractor to fix it up. What, what team should they be trying to put together, or what would be the steps for them to get into that,
Like an investment
into
team?
that job?
Okay. So, yeah, you'll definitely need a realtor, and then you'll need a good, you need a realtor just to run comps and see if, doing your net sheets, like at the end of the day, if you're buying a house for 500,000 and, or $100,000, and you have to put $200,000 into it, what are the homes in that area selling for? Because the people coming in, if they're coming with cash, it's fine. But most of the people right now aren't. They're financing, and they'll have to put a certain amount down, and they'll have to get an appraisal. So if they're getting an appraisal and it doesn't appraise, then there's a problem, right? They can't get the loan, because you can only get a loan on how much the home appraises for. So when it comes to that, you're going to have to, either the buyer's going to have to come up with the funds, the seller's going to have to come down in the list price, or both of them will have to pay the difference. So, but for that, you'll want a good agent that works with you. You'll need, obviously, contractors. I mean, you'll want to get like some sort of business set up where, you have like a business banking and business license, so that way you can operate it under, so you take some of the liability off of yourself, I think. That's what I did, just because it was just the way that we were doing things. But yeah, you definitely want a team of people, like a good contractor, people that work quickly, that are available, that trustworthy, and cash.
What type of properties do you primarily invest in? Like commercial or
Residential?
residential or?
Residential. Commercial isn't, I don't do anything with commercial. Commercial is a completely different ballgame. It's a different world. I can sell commercial with my license in Nevada. We can do whatever we want, but I'm not going to put myself in jeopardy or my license in jeopardy if I don't know what I'm doing. So, single family residence, condos, townhomes, and land, but that's not flipping. So
What trends are you currently observing in the real estate market?
right now the trend is it's stagnant. So it was, with interest rates at 7 something percent, people, the media is feeding everyone their information, and for some odd reason people are listening to them, which they typically do. But everyone was scared a couple months ago that we were going to go into recession, and now there are there are not enough homes on the market. That's what we're seeing. There's no inventory. So the people that are buying right now have to buy. The people that are selling right now have to sell, meaning there's a divorce, a job relocation, something major and impactful that's why they're buying. There's not really a lot of, flip homes and for sale, and people just they're being more conservative with their cash because the cost of living has gone up. So, in the foreseeable future, the trends are that they say there's no crystal ball in real estate. So they're saying that, it's an election year next year, interest rates will drop. So we're hoping for that, but it is the slowest in real estate history, like I've heard and I've read. So, but real estate, I always say real estate is a roller coaster. It's either up or down, up or down. And as long as, I tell buyers this all the time, if you can afford the payment, then that's what you have to focus on, right? You don't want to buy this $1 million house and have a $5,000 payment just because you got a brand new job and you want to look good for, your friends.
Right.
Like you need to like, can you afford this? You know, if you can afford $1,800 a month, then buy a house that is $1,800 a month. That doesn't mean you have to, it's not forever. You can sell it, make a little bit of money, or you can not sell it and hold on to it. And hopefully over those years, your home has built some equity. You know, you can refinance it and pull out that equity and buy another home. So it's like you're building on each other. But a lot of people, like, they figure that they have to have this, it's all a facade. Like they have to buy these big homes and, you know, and then they can't afford it.
Right.
And I just, you have to live for yourself. You don't have to, you know, I think living to impress everybody else is just, it's just not the way to live. But, you know, it's with the social media and everything that's where we're at. I think if you're smart with it, you know, if you have $100,000 and you want to invest in a property, don't spend all of it, spend some of it, and make sure that if you have a renter in there, they're paying the rent. If not, can you afford to keep like vacant for 2 months, like minimum 2 months, like have a backup, you know? So I absolutely think that real estate is a moneymaker. It's a long-term investment, right? Like you're not making millions overnight, but you're building your future and hopefully some equity along the way.
Okay. Well, I know that you've kind of hit on this, but so in 2023, right now, I think it's October 2023, is it a good time to get into or start to become a real estate investor?
That's like an open-ended question. So it just depends on what you're looking for. So anytime is a good time. How much capital do you have? Like how much money do you have to invest? If you have $100,000, stay where you can buy $100,000 or under. So anytime is a good time. You just have to be able to financially, you know, I think anytime is a good time to buy real estate because it's real estate. It's something that you own, you know, you can use it as collateral. Like it's always an investment if you're purchasing something like a home or a townhome or a condo. Because when it's really good, you can sell it and get rid of it. And now you have more money. When it's bad, if there's a tenant in there and the rent is paid, okay, we're
Right.
good. Right.
As
So
a real estate investor, you don't play we're at all-time houses are at an all-time high or houses at our all-time low game.
no, I just, since I've been doing it for so long, it's always like flat for me because I think if you have money coming in and you're moving your money, then, and you have some sort of cushion to fall back on, then you're okay. Right. Like, I mean, if it's low, yeah, let's go out and let's buy some. But if it's high, then, you know, you just have to, and it's not even, it's following the trends or whatever. Everyone knows that that's the first thing you pull up. How's the economy or how's the real estate market? Everyone knows it's dead. And typically we see trends, right? We're going into winter right now. If it's slow now in December, it's stagnant. So it's going to be slow. And then it'll pick up once spring hits. And then summer, in the middle of summer, is kind of slow. And then once kids go back to school, it picks up. And then winter is slow. So there are seasons in real estate, just like in anything. So you just have to, like, nobody knew during 2019, during the pandemic, that California would be moving here with cash and paying cash. So you just kind of have to pay attention to it. And, you know, if you feel it's a good deal for you and it makes sense on your net sheet, then that's a good time to buy.
So as a new real estate investor, how many homes would you advise trying to pick up per year? Is it, and when you're starting out, just try and pick one a year, or do you go all in and get 4 or 5 in the year?
Again, I guess it just depends on what your long-term goal is, right? Are you starting to purchase something, fix it up and sell it for a little bit more? Then, you know, you can move that money quickly and you can buy 4 or 5 in a year. So it just depends on what inventory is out there, how much money you have to spend. Because every home that is listed is going to sell. People are still moving. People are still buying. It's just slower than it was before. So I think it would just depend on how much money you have and what your long-term goal is.
Okay.
Okay, going off of that, how would you determine like the best location to like choose a home in?
So realtors are not allowed to discuss location because and this is what I think is safe and what you think is safe are completely different. What my, you know, I grew up downtown with bars on my window. You may think bars, oh, that's not safe, right? But that makes me feel safe. So it's just the price point. I would think ultimately it's just price point.
Yeah.
And then obviously the, the condition of the home.
Okay, so are there any upcoming developments or changes in the local area that investors should be aware of?
Well, with professional sports coming in,
Yeah,
is it helping Las Vegas?
yeah, that's huge. It's huge with everything. I think Vegas is a little underrated, as in our market. I don't know why. I think it's just we're not given enough credit for how much stuff we actually have going on here. We do have a lot of investors here or people that own a second home, right? But with the new teams coming here, how much entertainment we have, our low sales tax, like all of that, low property tax, that is a huge impact. And I'm sure there's just more to come, with F1 coming here, first time in the United States. It's huge.
Are they it seems like where we are, you go south towards LA on the 15. I mean, it's just I remember a long time ago, maybe 5, 10 years ago, it was nothing. But you go all the way down there now, all the way past St. Rose, and it's just same thing with the northwest. It's going out pretty far now. I mean, is there a lot more room to build out there? Or?
Yeah, there's room. There's lots of room. And they're just, with the market right now, so builders have always gone like they know the potential. They go with the trends. But yeah, they're still building. And if they're still building, then that means our economy is okay. I would say I'm not I'm not an economist. I'm not a banker. But I think if they're still building and they're still selling, then we're good. They're still building up north. They're still building multi-million-dollar homes. Blue Heron's building, they still have land for sale with a $1 million lot premium and people are buying them. So, I don't think we're going anywhere. But yes, there's a lot of room. Inspirata, I didn't even know that it went that far back. And I went to show a client the other day. It's huge, the amount of construction going on.
Okay, so what's your primary strategy when it comes to real estate investment? Do you buy and hold, or do you like flip? Or
for me, so back in the day, or I guess 10 years ago, and
Yeah, I know.
yeah,
I
mine
know
was
back in the day.
yeah, mine was buy and hold. Now it's buy and flip. If we
Why?
can
Why
buy
the
cheap, because I already did that, buy and hold, and I want to make a little bit more money. Like I want more cushioning to fall back on. So right now it's buy and hold and sell.
Well, when you say make more money, how do you mean
So
more
I'm buying it for
like a
cheap.
lump sum? Or
Yeah, like I'm buying it for cheap. I'm fixing it up a little bit, and then I'm selling it for hopefully more, making a little bit of a profit, just so I have more of a cushion. I'm not looking to right now. I am, but it has to be the right circumstance for me to buy and hold. But that's just me personally.
so does it matter? Is it let's just say you had a lot of money to invest. Would it be better to let's just say you have $1 million?
Okay.
Would it be better to get 10 homes at $100,000 each, or two homes at 500,000, or one home at 1 million? Which one do you think would generate the most? Which strategy would be the most profitable?
That's a really good question. So I think, this is my opinion, I would probably buy more homes and rent them out. Just because you have more monthly income, right? Hopefully paying off, like if you don't have a mortgage, you have $1 million. So yeah, you own more homes in that little block than, and they're all going to gain equity over time.
Because if you listen to people, they say, how many doors do you have?
Yeah.
In other
Yeah.
words, I have 15 doors, I have 5 doors, I have 25 doors. If you have an apartment complex, you owe like 100 doors, so
Yeah.
I guess if you're looking to buy and hold strategy, the best thing is to just get as many as you can.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. The best, if you're looking to buy and hold, is as many as you can. And it doesn't matter. They're just doors. So I always have to remind my investors of that. They're just doors. It's not a home. You're not emotionally attached to it.
Right.
It's just a door. It's just another door. Because a
Okay.
lot of people get into this and they're like, oh, but I really like this home. And I'm like, it's not it's a home. I get that, but you're just too emotionally attached to it. If you're walking into it as an investor, is a whole different mindset.
Okay. And as a beginning real estate investor, I assume it'd be better to start locally where you are. Like, if you want to get into real estate investing, you would start in Las Vegas rather than going out to, let's say, Phoenix or, somewhere else. Would it be better to, or wherever the deals are, is where you have to go?
Yeah, I think it's wherever the deals are is where you have to go, but you also have to have a realtor that you trust. That is, because you obviously can't just go, oh, I want to buy this house, and is it a good price? And the realtor's like, yeah, sure, it is, because they want to make the sale. And I'm not saying that realtors do that, but I think everyone that you work with, you want to be able to trust them, right? Like they have to know what your plan is. Like if an investor sits down with me, I'm like, okay, well, what are your goals are? What are your 5-year goals, 10-year goals? What are you just looking to purchase whatever you want and get rid of it? Okay, then that's your goal. So I think, obviously locally it's easier just because you're here and you can work with someone and it's, you can put your fingers on it and touch it. But also sometimes the market's just not there and you have to go elsewhere, which is fine. You can, realtors work very well with each other. So, I don't have a license in Phoenix, but I know someone that I've worked with before that I trust that I can refer. So a lot of investors do that as well.
Okay. So I know a lot of times it's good to find a mentor and you said when you deal with real estate people or real estate investors, new ones that you help with or guide,
Mm-hmm.
how important is it to find a mentor in terms of real estate investing?
So I
Or is
think
it not important at all?
well, it just depends. Like, I think if you know what you want, because everyone's different, like I have 3 investors I work with. One is, he doesn't have the time of day. He doesn't want to talk to anyone. He just wants to get in there, get it done. So I think if you have your realtor is kind of like your mentor, I think if they're doing a good job for you and you've built that relationship and that trust, that's kind of your mentor. Like I had one, she was a realtor, but she was also a friend. And I'm like, should I do this? Or, just asking for, excuse me, her input. And she was amazing. She would walk through a property with me with a little sheet and she's like, nope, that's 500. Nope, that's 600. And then we'd go back to her office and we'd do a net sheet. And she's like, this doesn't make sense. And I'm like, but why? I don't understand. And she'd explain it to me. So, but that's again, a relationship that I had with her. So you just have to have someone that is willing to do that for you.
Going back on to how many doors you have or and that, what factors do you consider when evaluating a potential property for investment?
So once it's purchased, I guess just basically doing a walkthrough. So I have a checklist, and it's, it goes from floors all the way up to the ceiling. What needs to be fixed? What can be, that's okay that we can just put some paint on it. Is there anything that is, back in the day, people were stealing or like toilets and, so basically how much is it going to cost to fix up the property? And then in the area, what what are the homes selling for? And then, things to consider, what's the HOA, and stuff like that. But basically, like, what's the condition of the home?
Okay. And do as someone that invests in multiple properties at the same time, do you create a separate LLC for each property so that it's, instead of putting all the properties under one LLC, do you do that? Or is that what's your strategy for protecting yourself against liability?
So with that, I had to get with my attorney, and because they're the only ones that are, I mean, anyone can set up an LLC, but what was my attorney and my accountant determined together what the best move for me was. So when we first started, we had 5 different LLCs, and every property was in a different LLC. And then it was very confusing. It started, it's not confusing, but it's a lot of work. Like, this goes to this goes to this. It's all about organization. But now we have one LLC, and then we have a series underneath. But that was recommended from our accountant and tax person. But I would, taking on the liability of it, I would absolutely set up an LLC and run it that way.
Okay, so that's an attorney / accountant question.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So if someone wanted to get in touch with you for either they're going to move to Las Vegas, or they're in Las Vegas, they want to get a house, or they need someone to property manage, how would they get in contact with you? All right. Well, if someone is looking to get more information about you, they're looking to move to Vegas, they need a good realtor, how would they find you?
Jessica Bellai, realty.com. If you can see my logo on the top. I also do property management, Nevada Living Property Management. You can go to my website, you can put in your information, or you can send me an email. And yeah, any questions, I'm always here to help and educate. I think that this generation doesn't have any training on how to do any of this. And yes, I know Google's at your fingertips and whatever, but maybe I'm a little old school. I need to touch it and feel it and understand it and have someone walk me through it. I'm happy to, send you in the right direction, because I'm not a lender, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an accountant. I just a realtor, which I can give you advice, and it's kind of like what I see in the market, but I can absolutely, put you in touch with people that I work with, that I trust. And yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Even so